I'll live with the crap,
buddy.
And I feel very good.
One of the things, Mike, that's been pointed out over the course of today and last night after the game is that you seem resigned to the fate after the game, that there wasn't much fire in you, and you sort of stood up before the media and said, well, this is the way it is. Are you resigned to this fate?
You're the same guy that wrote about me when I did have the fire, that was the wrong thing to do. So who you crapping?
Well, I'm just asking.
Don't crap me now. No.
That's all I ever get from you. I thought by now you'd realize
I got home.
there ain't no way to hide your lying eyes.
Joe Greedy.
Who You Crap brought to you by Auburn Plumbing Supply. Auburn Plumbing Supply for all of your plumbing needs. Check them out at www.auburnsupply.com to experience the service they've been proud of since
1947.
Me, I like it simple. Limit this to something someone said, not something someone did.
Gary in Evanston starts Who You Crappin' on the score.
Oh, hi, guys. I'd like to crap former NFL player and current ESPN commentator Mark Schlereth, who predicted yesterday that the Terrell Owens situation would be beneficial and positive for the Cowboys because it would, quote, galvanize them and bring them together. Well, Schlereth may turn out to be right, but on the other hand, the Barrett Robbins situation sure did not galvanize or bring together the Raiders in Super Bowl 37. They were destroyed by the Bucs and haven't been any good since. The comments by Schlereth are just another example of most of the ESPN talking heads feeling that they have to put a positive spin on even the worst of stories, such as those involving T.O. and Barry Bonds. Mark Schlereth, who are you crapping?
Gary, you're the only man I know that has his own whatever.
His own sound effect?
Yeah. But you know something? That one wasn't, he's right.
The 10-foot midget says Saturday, Penn State, Ohio State, and Joe Paterno was seen suddenly running from the sidelines.
This is what I think it is.
Across the end zone and into the tunnel while play was in progress.
Yep, watched it.
Bob Greasy remarked at this, well, at least he's running. That's a good sign. Yeah, Bob, it's always a good sign when someone is running in a situation where running is quite out of the norm, if not inappropriate. Just like it was a good sign to see all those Japanese running in the old Godzilla films. Or that naked Vietnamese girl in the Pulitzer Prize-winning photo. Bob, if somebody's running at a time when running normally does not occur, such as through a city street in a business suit or naked or crying in public or leaving a sidelines and one's supposed to be coaching a game, that means something very bad is probably occurring, such as Joe Pa potentially vomiting on national television, as viewers learned later that Paterno had a bad case of the flu at the time. Luckily, that was the only reason Paterno ran from the field, and not because there was some serious emergency he had to attend to, which is what went through my mind when I saw him take off into the tunnel. Do you think he'd won a prize or something? Bob, maybe you spontaneously break into a sprint whenever good fortune shines its light upon you, but the rest of us normal folks only run outside of exercising when we're trying to avoid very bad things. And I can promise you I'll run from the TV if I hear you again. Bob Greasy, who you crapping?
Can I add something to that you'll get a kick out of? At halftime of that game, and I think it was the Penn State defensive coordinator that was calling the shots. It wasn't the offensive guy, it was the defensive coordinator calling the shots.
Yeah.
At halftime, they ran across the field, and he went over and handed something to Tressel. And I don't know if it was Greasy or McGuire or the play-by-play guy. Who the hell was that? I know the guy. Said, well, you know what they probably was? That was probably a note telling them that Joe Pa was okay because, Jim Tressel would obviously be very concerned about this. While his team has sucked their way through a 3-0 halftime. You know what it was? And Tressel said it at the halftime interview, and nobody said a word. One of his players had dropped their wristband with the plays on it, and then the coach told him, well, we don't want an unfair advantage. Here's the kid's wristband back.
Tampa Bob, you're on the score on Who You Crapping.
Hi, fellas. First-time crapper.
Good luck with your first crap.
Why, thank you. This was up to your very own Jesse Rogers, who had a caller on his show give his theory as to why the White Sox were not winning. After that, Jesse responded, I have to poo-poo that theory for lack of a better word.
Jesse, check your dictionary. Poo-poo is not a word. It should only really be used when you're in your 1-year-old's bedroom changing a very heavy diaper. So, Jesse, who are you poo-pooing?
All right.
Okay.
Dave says the Cubs had a meaningless comeback victory yesterday. But check that it did mean something. They only come back for a win after the season is long lost, but Dusty Baker maintained his early season form, heaping praise on backup catcher Henry Blanco for getting that ninth-inning hit. Quote, Henry's doing outstanding, said the manager, who of course had already forgiven Blanco's earlier miss of a suicide bunt sign, producing the latest in a long series of Little League blunders, and with a straight face, Baker added, I don't know where we'd be without Henry.
Oh, Lord.
You don't know, Dusty? Gee, I guess your team would have the worst record in the National League. I guess you'd have 22 fewer wins than the Marlins, though your team's payroll's 6 times as large. Oops, the Cubs do have the worst record and are underperforming smaller payrolls, even with Henry Blanco. Thanks, Dusty, for letting Sox fans know that painful and humiliating as their season was, things could be worse. We could have a manager celebrating lame performance. Bye-bye, Dusty, and who you crappin'? Frodog Northside, you're on WSCR.
Hello, boys.
Hello? Hello?
Hello. Anyway, this crap goes out to Phil Nevin, who in an interview this week in a newspaper, I believe, was talking about the Cubs, his time with the Cubs, and he says that I had a great time playing in Chicago. All the fans are great. And then he went on commenting about Dusty Baker and how Dusty Baker is a great manager, and if the Cubs were to get rid of Dusty, the people of Chicago and the Cubs management would regret it. Phil Nevin is just another one of those knuckleheads, just like Jack Jones and Navy Perez, who just loves Dusty. So, Phil Nevin, who are you crapping?
Although Dusty wound up being upset with him about that.
Mm-hmm.
Not that comment in particular, but another about things in the clubhouse.
Yeah, he didn't know what he was talking about either.
Correct again.
Napoleon Dynamite and Joliet is on Who You Crappin' on the Score.
Hi, guys.
Hi.
I'm bringing Sexy back.
No.
Sweet. Anyway, oh, by the way, Dan, every time I crap, you always talk about the way I look, and I gotta say, it makes you sound like a gay. But today's crap goes out to Steven Alexander, who said that the power of prayer healed his broken foot in 2 minutes or something like that. But if you go check out your MRI or X-ray, it'll still show you're broken. So Steven Alexander, you weird, fast, broken-footed, bearded dope, who you crapping? Okay, bye.
It was Sean Alexander, right? Okay.
Need a name check, Napoleon.
Yep. Dan in Batavia says, Ed Farmer took great exception to the PA folks at Jacobs Field celebrating the White Sox elimination by playing The Night Chicago Died by Paper Lace. Farmer said it was classless of the organization and the White Sox should file it away and remember it next year when Cleveland comes to town. Farmio, I don't recall you having any problem with the class factor regarding the White Sox playing na-na, hey, kiss 'em goodbye each and every time the Sox dispatch an opponent. Maybe if the Sox had played better than just barely 500 ball against the divisional teams, or if they'd played something better than 10 games under 500 since the break, they wouldn't have to worry about carrying a grudge around in their golf bags through the month of October. Ed Farmer, who you crapping?
You know, there really is a lot of hate for the White Sox.
Yeah, there is.
Mm-hmm. We have to talk about that someday when we get some
A
time.
lot of it has to do with their catcher.
Agreed.
Seems.
I wanted to get to him, but we'll get to him.
Tom in Dubuque, you're on Who You Crapping on the Score.
Wasn't Farmio the same guy that knocked Al Collins on his keister?
Yeah.
Yes.
I think it was, right? Yeah. Hey, this crap is for Kim Etheridge. Yesterday's press conference with T.O., it went something like this, where she made the comment that T.O. was quiet and unresponsive, and that's unusual for a man of his stature. Well, if he was quiet and unresponsive, she may very well have been sitting next to a statue, but I don't know about that. It's nice to know that there's a bigger horse's ass out there than Terrell Owens, and it's Kim Etheridge. Kim Etheridge, who are you crapping?
Thank you, Tom.
I can't disagree with that. She was just obnoxious.
Bino's Cook in Oswego, you're on the Score.
I'm gonna pause for a little
Cook,
bit.
go.
Bino! Bino. Ooh.
Bye. I love you.
Love
I
you
love
too.
you too, Bino.
Hello.
I love you
We
too,
love you
Bino.
too.
I was
We
talking
love
to
you,
my
Bino.
daughter.
Were you talking to a man?
I was talking to my daughter.
Oh,
okay.
But we do love you. Hey, buddy.
Hey, this Saturday, West Virginia, East Carolina University, Andre Ware calling the game, doing his best Jesse Rogers impersonation, says, I hate to beat a dead drum, but East Carolina just cannot run this ball outside against West Virginia. No, well, maybe they'd like to beat the horse slowly. The phrase is, you can't beat a dead horse. Andre Ware, who are you crapping?
Yeah, you know what? Thank you for that. And if you get a chance out there, I don't know how many peeps we have out there, because I love college football. I don't want to talk about it because I hate the fans. If you ever get a chance, and I don't know, you'd have to look around. I'm not sure, and I've seen him a couple times. Andre Ware, you gotta take a listen to that. Oh my God.
He's baby Jesse.
Oh my God. I'm serious. I don't know where you'd run across it. I don't know where it was. Maybe on the package. I don't know. But he pops up every once in a while. Priceless.
Here's one from Red Bursting Crotch Dot, who says, after coming back from a commercial break in the fourth quarter of Bears-Vikings, Moose Johnston gave a summary of what had transpired, and he said both teams have made a commitment to the running game, as he lauded a classic NFC North matchup. 15 seconds later, Fox flashed a graphic saying Bears play selection, rush 16, pass 36. Yep, nothing says commitment to running like 70% pass plays. Moose, anyone watching, knew the Bears weren't running the ball. But you don't have to watch the game to be on a Fox broadcasting crew, so while you continue to feed me cliches about bear weather, bear football, and blue-collar Chicago fans, tell me who you crapping.
Yeah, I heard him say it, and I sometimes I think you're just so programmed that you're going to say it even if it's not true.
Right. They don't care what's actually happening.
Because he's generally one of the Fox guys I like.
Right. But he still has to know the program. Blue-collar, Madden, Pat in Quad Cities, you're on the score.
Hello, boys.
Hello.
This crap goes out to Buccaneers coach Gruden, who, after Chris Sims had his spleen removed, said, yeah, he's a real tough kid and he's going to be just fine. Well, John, having your spleen removed is nothing remotely approaching fine. For the rest of his life, he won't be able to fight off any infections. So, John Gruden, who you crapping?
Is that true?
I don't know. You're the doctor. You're asking me?
I didn't think it was that bad.
I don't know that.
If you can't fight off any infections, you're going to die.
Uh-huh.
So I would think it's not that bad.
I don't know.
Tim in Lansing, Michigan, you're on Who You Crappin' on WSCR.
Yeah, last week, or earlier this week, Steve Stone was commenting on who was going to replace Dusty Baker as manager, and he listed the normal candidates, Joe Girardi, Lou Piniella, and Terry Francona if he's released from his contract with Boston. Well, the next day, Terry Francona was on WEEI in Boston. I emailed the comment in, and they happened to ask him that. He was flabbergasted and said that's the craziest question he'd ever heard, and he didn't know where that would ever come from, and Steve Stone must be full of it. Steve Stone, who you crapping?
Yeah, that was a new one on me. He's going to have a whole bunch of new players next year.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, my God. The wrecking ball she be coming.
Stephen Bolingbrook, you're on Who You Crappin' on WSCR, The Score.
Hey, buddy.
Hey.
Hey, Dan, by the way, the spleen is the organ in the body that helps fight off infection. So
That's
is
bad.
Yeah, it is pretty bad. But my crap goes out to Skip Bayless. Far be it for me to pound on and pile on to anybody at the Booyah Network, but it just becomes too easy. On Tuesday's show, Cold Pizza, Skip made this comment: the Bears would be a better team with Kyle Orton at quarterback. Now, first of all, I don't know how you're better than 3-0, but to suggest, and far be it for me, I don't mean to compare Rex Grossman as the second coming of Johnny Unitas or anyone that stature, but he was just named the Player of the Month, if I'm not mistaken. So, Skip, stick to what you do best, and that's having some kind of ridiculous banner back and forth with Woody Page. Skip Bayless, who you crapping?
There were 6 separate emails that came in just on the Skip Bayless comment that Kyle Orton.
I was not aware of that until you mentioned it to me yesterday. I generally Skip stays on top of stuff, and I would think with such a wide-ranging audience, my God, it's sort of like one of them who said that the Chicago fans were pining for the return of Phil Jackson.
Right. Remember that?
Oh, yeah. I remember it very well, and I just, look, if you're going to say something, well, never mind. We do it too, but I mean, oh, my God.
Sean in Peoria, you're on The Score.
Hey, buddies.
Hey.
This crap is for your buddy Mike Murphy. On his show today, he had this brilliant email about the Cubs cell phone promotion. You know how Rothschild calls the bullpen with the cell phone or whatever?
Mm-hmm.
Well, this genius noted that in a recent game, he saw Rothschild use the wall phone to call the pen and wondered what happened to the promotion. You know, I guess some Cub fans are more worried about that instead of their team sucking. But anyway, after Murph read this email, his retort was that cell phones must have died from overuse. Well, Murph, usually cell phones have rechargeable batteries. You know, you can plug them into the wall, and a few hours later, they're like new, and you can use them again. Murph, you moron, who you crapping?
Here's one
Set the record, by the way, for pitching changes in
Yep.
the season.
You beat,
Congratulations on that, by the way.
You beat out even Felipe Alou. That's amazing.
Well, see what, though? If he wouldn't sleep the last 3 innings, that had never happened.
The one-man swarm says, putting her final touches on T.O.'s attempted suicide press conference, duplicitous publicist Kim Etheridge sneered as she told us that Terrell has 25 million reasons why he should be alive. Kim, there's many reasons why a person might attempt suicide, and destitution is one of them. However, anyone who has even cursory familiarity with your client will recognize that poverty is not a real concern for him. A more likely contributor to his erratic behavior might be some form of clinical depression. So unless the fruits of his current contract are invested in research to discover the means to overcome the lack of neurotransmitters or neurogenesis of the hippocampus and the hereditary factors comprising the most conspicuous causes of depression, then the financial fortune you so flippantly referred to is about as likely to prevent similar behavior as your gum chewing is to inspire confidence in your credibility. Ms. Etheridge, the ignorance inherent in your closing quip is almost as striking as your resemblance to James Earl Jones as Thulsa Doom in Conan the Barbarian. And he's enclosed pictures. Kim Etheridge, who you crapping?
You know, it's I'm trying to put this in perspective here and saying, you know, me, I formulate opinions but she, although I've seen several, I guess, but I don't want to say it's impossible to make me hate you in like 2 minutes or 3 minutes, but she did.
You know, she became a bus list candidate in about 3 minutes.
Yeah, that's what I was going to ask you. You think that's okay?
Oh, absolutely. I
Not too
agree
soon?
with you. I agree with you.
Okay.
I candidate. I don't know that she's on the list
jumpy,
yet,
you
but
know.
I would be willing to hear arguments for her presence on the bus list.
Okay, because I want to put it there, and you always say, "Oh, come on, you don't." You
No,
know,
I will allow.
You go with me on this one.
I'll take that to the floor for debate, perhaps.
Okay.
Box Boy on a car phone. You're on Who You Crappin' on the Score.
Hello, boys.
Hello.
This clip goes out to Ed Farmer. During Monday's game, the White Sox in Cleveland, he commented about the Cleveland fans who were booing Jim Thome. And he said, and I quote, you know, it's not just about playing. There is a financial aspect, and Cleveland didn't offer him as much money as Philadelphia did. They only offered him like 3/4 of what Philadelphia did. He then continued by saying Cleveland offered him $40 million while Philadelphia offered him $90 million. Ed, I don't know if you've ever done the math before, but 3/4 or 75% of $40 million would be $70 million, whereas $90 million would be 2.25%. So they ordered more than double. So Ed Farmer, who you crapping?
My head's spinning.
Mine too. Farmio's getting a load today.
Really isn't.
Last licks at Farmio.
Here's a first. As NIU Dave said, this goes out to Pakistani President Pervez Musharraf. Never Nervez Pervez getting one here. Who in an interview this week said, Pakistan is a stable country. We have a stable government and a strong military. What? Your country harbors terrorists and signs a peace treaty with the Taliban. It's the breeding ground for new terrorists in the numerous madrasas, and then there's the lawless Kashmir region. How about write a little less and do your part to root out the murderers in your midst? Pervez Musharraf, who you crapping?
Yeah, that Kashmir region makes me sweat.
God.
Huh?
We're even. Magic one on a car phone here on the Score.
Howie. Hey, guys, I got a crap for Moose Johnston as well. I'd like to pile on. During the game on Sunday, after Tony Richardson had caught a pass in the flat and went down, Moose added this, Jim. He said that while he was in Kansas City, he never got the credit he deserved. Now, last I checked, Tony Richardson was voted to 3 consecutive Pro Bowls on the AFC team. He was actually the starting fullback on each of those teams, and also got voted or got nominated for Man of the Year in 2002. So that doesn't sound like he's been overlooked to me. So Moose Johnston, who you crapping?
This man who knows his
Good
football,
one.
for the love of God.
Good one.
All right, we're still open for business. 312-644-6767. Come out and give us a big finish. Chicago Sports Radio 670. Let's go, you crap.
In sole possession of first place in the NFC North, the 3-0 Bears face off against the Seattle Seahawks in a Sunday night battle at Soldier Field. Keep it here all week as we bring you all things Bears as they prepare for this primetime matchup only on 670 The Score.
Leon on the south side. Hi, you're on the score.
Hey, how's it going? Okay, this crap goes out to you two guys, Terry and Dan. Oh, yeah. You guys constantly complain about Kyle Orton, but every time Mosey Muhammad comes around, you guys always holding on to his jockstrap like he's a big hero. Now, put it to you like this.
No.
How did an all-pro receiver manage to finish second in the league and drop pass?
Turn up.
But y'all won't even crack on him about that. And let's talk about Charles Peanut Brittle Tillman, the most thrown that cornerback in the league. So when you guys want to talk about Kyle Orton, be man enough to talk about Mosey Muhammad and how butter slippery fingers he got. So who you guys be crapping?
I'm as black as the ace of spades.
We're closing on Who You Be Crappin'. I love it. Just take it.
That's what we're doing on Sports
Bitch better have my money.
I've been spending as much time possible learning other ways to kiss Moose's ass, by the way. I hope you've been doing your homework.
Here's Carphone Mike on Who You Crapping on the Score.
Hey, buddy.
Hey, buddy.
Hey, this craps out for Bill Romanowski, who earlier this week he was lecturing a 12-year-old about cheating and how to play dirty. This from a guy who, in a roid rage, ruined a fellow football player's career and spit in other people's faces, as well as being the king of the cheap shot. He should know better than to lecture people. Bill Romanowski, who you crapping?
I'm glad somebody did that. I had the exact same thought.
I'm glad somebody did this, too, considering the timing. It's from Hibelicious, who says, this goes out to soon-to-be ex-Cub manager Dusty Baker for 4 years of excuses, lies, and cowardice, for telling us that dark-skinned players handle the heat better, for testifying that larger players have more moving parts, for teaching us that walks clog the bases, for excusing weak hitting against left-handers because the team didn't have a left-handed batting practice pitcher, for legitimizing Ronnie Cedeno not starting at second because he didn't have the right glove, for praising Aramis Ramirez's recent production and saying it came at the right time for us, and for my personal favorite, you can't turn your back on Holly, and for all the other nonsense you've spewed in your 4 years in Chicago, Dusty Baker, one of baseball's best con men, goodbye, good riddance, and who you crappin'.
Outstanding.
Terry, check your manometer.
Oh, my manometer. You know, it's been a very exciting version, and it's ready to burst. And I got it at a place you'll never guess where.
Montana.
Nope, Mantino.
I'm always wrong.
I know.
Damn.
It's kind of like the old card trick.
Rich in Antioch will close out Who You Crappin' on the Score.
Hey, boys.
Hello.
This craps goes out to Lawrence Holmes, who today on the Bears Report said the Bears were a serious contender for the Super Bowl, at least in the NFC. Well, Lawrence, I hate to break it to you, they can't really be a contender in the AFC. Lawrence Holmes, who you crapping?
Hey, buddy!
With the things you say, maybe you were having an off day.
Hey!
Redneck. We were napping. Hey, buddy, who you crapping?
And it's been brought to you by Auburn Plumbing Supply. Auburn Plumbing Supply for all of your plumbing needs. Check them out, www.auburnsupply.com, to experience the service they've been proud of since
1947.